The Holocaust Memorial on Miami Beach was dedicated and opened to the public in February 1990. Since then, many thousands have gone through its gates to see the amazing sculptures, pictures, and writings that tell the story of the anguish of the millions that perished. Television can't do justice to this moving series of images and recreations. Sharon Horowitz, the director of the memorial, explains.
The memorial is an incredibly special place. First, there are the survivors who spend so much of their time here sharing what they went through so many years ago. But more than that, it's really the lessons that we want to teach for the future, because that's what we're all about. We can't do anything to bring back 6 million people that perished. If they had lived, we know that there would have been over 36 million Jews in the world today. But they perished. 95% of them in Eastern Europe were murdered. So the message for us becomes somewhat different. What do we hope to teach here at the Holocaust Memorial? We really hope to inspire. We hope to say that this is a testimony to what hate does. And there should never be one group that hates another so much that they want to exterminate them. There should be no more situations of genocide in the world. And we all need to step up to the plate. We can't say it's the responsibility of another person to do it. We have to say, what is my responsibility? What do I need to do? And that's really when the school groups come, and over 35,000 school children come, that's really what they talk about with their teachers, what we encourage them to talk about, and what the survivors talk about. What is my responsibility as a human being? What is my responsibility as a citizen here in the United States? And what do I want to do about it? So it's very important for us to start the conversation. And it goes to levels such as ethnic jokes, and what does an ethnic joke mean, and why do we want to make fun of another person, and why do we want another person to feel badly because of their religion or the color of their skin? We don't. And all of those things, the kernel of that is some kind of hatred. And so that's really what we're trying to teach here at the memorial, based on what we know about the Holocaust, is what hate does and how destructive it is. Whether it be anti-bullying in the schools today or whether it be jokes, that's what we're doing here. So a few weeks ago, we had a professor that came 4 days in a row with her college students. And by the third day, I was talking to her and asking her a little bit about what are the students studying that she felt she wanted to bring them here to the memorial. She told me she was teaching ethics, and she thought that this was an amazing place to be able to teach that. Because in her class, she said that the Puerto Rican students are angry with the Colombian students. The Colombian students are angry with the Haitian students. And so she saw the direct example of what it means when groups can't get along. And she thought that this was an ideal place to be able to begin to teach that lesson and have that conversation. And that's really why I'm involved here, because I think that is so amazingly important.
We have a community that's committed to remember the tragedy of the Holocaust and to create an atmosphere in which people will come and learn of the tragedy of the past so that we can help ensure that that tragedy never happens again. And I'm very proud that we have it here at Miami Beach in our community. We have a united feeling that, that the world cannot ever again remain silent. There is no difference of opinion among the Jewish world and those that are progressive thinking people, that the tragedy happened because people remained silent. Edmund Burke once said, all it takes for evil to prevail is for people of goodwill to remain silent. And that's what helped cause the destruction of the 6 million Jews. So we're committed to teach and to remind what happens when you remain silent and what you can do in order to help avoid it by speaking up and speaking out. In the beginning of the 1980s, a group of people got together, some American-born people and a number of Holocaust survivors. And Norman Brayman, who was the first chairman, led the group in terms of mobilizing the effort of the community to try to get that memorial built here. And the memorial was finally constructed and dedicated in February of 1990. So in 2010, we're commemorating 20 years of a very active program of the memorial. There was some opposition to us building the memorial on Miami Beach, because many people said this is not the right place, not the right atmosphere. Miami Beach is a place of sun and fun and tourism, and this is like a downer to talk about the tragedy. And a number of us made aware our city commissioners who had to vote, it's city property, whether or not to give us that property. We made them aware. He said, people say this is not the right place. Are you aware of the legal address of the memorial? They said no. The legal address is 1933-1945 Meridian Avenue, the exact years of the tragedy of the Nazi era. There's nowhere in the world that's more important or more appropriate. But of course, it was more than just the accent of a date or of an address. It was that the City of Miami Beach Commission realized that unless we help educate the community of what happened, and God forbid it could happen again, so they unanimously voted to give us that property that we can use for this memorial.
The Holocaust Memorial on Miami Beach is an extraordinary asset to this Jewish community. It means different things to different people. For the Federation, what it really represents is a legacy, a precious legacy, if you will, that we have received from the founders who created the memorial many years ago. And by deciding to bequeath the memorial to the Federation, what they really said is that we trust you to carry on not just its maintenance as a physical place, but to carry on its meaning and to make sure that its holy mission to educate, to perpetuate, to document, to witness what happened in the Holocaust is carried over to future generations. To survivors, for many of them, it really represents a resting place, if you will, for the souls of their departed loved ones who perished in the Holocaust. There are no graves, there are no markers, so for them this is a cemetery, this is a memorial where they go to grieve people that they knew individually, people that they loved, people who were their parents, their brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, countless tens of thousands of people who have been memorialized there. For the children of our community, it represents a permanent memorial, a learning place to understand firsthand, in as real a way as possible without having lived through it, what the horrors of the Holocaust were, how it affected people, the lives that were lost, the stories that were lost, the loves that were lost. For them, for the generations who are children now and for their descendants, it really stands as a reminder about what happens when good people do nothing, what happens when evil is allowed to go unfettered, unopposed. And we use the memorial as an opportunity not just to educate about the history of the Shoah, of the Holocaust, but also to remind people about the horrors of genocide that continue to this very day.